Big hello to everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Frank Bosi. I'm the Senior Director of Business Development here at Hostfully, along with Aaron Fisher, also known as Fish, who is our Business Development Representative. And today we're joined by both Ellie, the founder and CEO of Hudson Creative Studio, and our very own Nick, who is the owner of OSA Property Management Property Management. And he's also a user of both Hudson Creative for his website and Hostfully for his property management software. So we're really excited to discuss one of our web development integrations today, which is Hudson Creative Studio, and chat about the ways to manage direct bookings and thrive beyond OTAs, and how Nick with OSA really found success in this approach as well. As you can see here, we are a very tight-knit and friendly team across the board. So today's webinar may take some unexpected twists and turns. I can't make any promises, but overall, we just wanted to kind of take a fun and kind of organic flow for today's roundtable. But all jokes aside, I personally, during my meetings and my demos, have had a lot of interest and questions from our customers as well as our prospects, really, in the property management space, just asking how they can get more direct bookings and if I can share some fun tips and tricks to drive those direct inquiries. With Hostfully, it makes it really easy to do so, but also with our partners, we're going to share some of those tips and tricks with you. So here we're going to present of ways of doing just that. Quick overview. Today, we're going to be also covering the pros and cons of OTA partnership, building a strong brand identity, building trust and demonstrating competence. At the same time, you're building that customer loyalty. So really, before we jump into our discussion, just wanted to take a quick minute to let you know more about Hostfully. For those of you who are not familiar, we are a vacation rental property management software that helps you run your business from tip to tail. What we do is we essentially strive to help the vacation rental companies and property managers make more money, increase revenue, streamline and automate their day-to-day operations, while at the same time, we're also improving the overall traveler experience. Now, Hostfully has two platforms. These are both completely standalone platforms, by the way. You have the property management platform as well as the digital guidebook. They're both fully integrated, so of course you're more than welcome to use both of them together, but you also have the option to use just the property management software or just the digital guidebook. On the property management platform side, we have direct integrations with major OTAs with Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, and a bunch of other channels as well, aside from your direct booking channel. So Hostfully will become your central place to manage all of your reservations. We have a great pipeline feature, which is unique to the industry as well. And here is where you can see all of your guests and exactly where they are in the process of their bookings. And it basically helps you manage your operations in different ways than the other softwares that are out there. We have a really fun, nice out-of-the-box direct booking website available to all of our users. And especially in this day and age, really, we want as many direct bookings as possible and not to be so heavily reliant on those other channels. Also included in our software, we have automated messages, both email and text message. We have reports, analytics, payment processors. Feel free to email me directly and I'll tell you all about the fun stuff with Hostfully. And then we also have the direct guidebooks. And this is just a really fun, unique, and beautiful way where we focus on enhancing the guest experiences. We make it easy to share important information to your guest about their trip, like arrival details, directions, house manual. Again, this aims in boosting your guest experience and it cuts down on communication. And it also has the ability to get you more 5-star reviews. So the property management platform, we've been winning awards, super excited. It's been great. We won Matt Landau's VRMB Keystone Award for the first year they had it for the best vacation rental software. And then we won again a year after that as the best property management software to grow with specifically, making us back-to-back winners. And we also just recently won the Shorty's 2022 award as the best property management software. And we've been nominated once again for the Shorty's 2023 award. And one of the main evaluators, Terry White, said that Hostfully is one of the best softwares, period, he has ever seen. Same thing with the guidebooks. Erica here is a client of ours and basically said the same thing about our guidebooks. So if you haven't tested out our guidebooks yet, we have free trials with all of our guidebook subscriptions, and also one free guidebook for everyone who does want to kick out the tires and test it out. Lastly, are the reports and webinars. Not only do we have an incredible platform and beautiful guidebooks, but we also provide you with resources to assist with your operations. We have a ton to offer you there, along with blog posts and articles. If you do want any additional information on any of our products, again, please feel free to reach out to me directly or my colleague, Aaron. We're always happy to coordinate and schedule a one-on-one demo with you. But that's enough about Hostfully. I'm sure y'all are really excited and really here to learn about Hudson Creative Studio and OSA Property Management and how they work together in optimizing their website for direct bookings while at the same time building that customer loyalty. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Ellie and Nick. Gentlemen, we are super excited and stoked to be an official partner and a preferred software with you both. And we are also really excited to share some of the learnings that we've gotten from Hudson Creative and OSA Property Management throughout the years of this partnership. So yeah, Nick here has 18 years of experience in Costa Rica in property management and real estate development. He started OSA Property Management about 5 years ago and has been managing properties for 13 years in Costa Rica. Is it right? OSA Property Management has 35 employees.
Yes.
And they're all comprised of like home cleaners, maintenance, and landscapers. So that's impressive, Nick. Well done. And Nick has been a client of ours since we were Orby Rental. Before that, he even branded OSA Property Management. And Nick can tell you, really tell you and us a bit about his experience in building his brand and scaling his business using direct booking. So I'm going to let you all take it from here. I'm just going to hang out and enjoy the show.
Great. Ellie, are you going to go? Here we go.
I just want to say hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. And maybe a couple of words from me because I don't think I provided a bio to Frank. So just a couple of quick words about my journey.
You're just too interesting. I couldn't keep it all in an hour, Ellie.
I'm about to disambiguate all of that. I built my first website when I was in college back in 1997, if that kind of sets the stage a little bit. So I've been in the industry for a bit, between technical and creative, and I'm based out of New Orleans. And for the past 10 plus years, before starting Hudson Creative Studio in 2021, I was working at a marketing and a PR firm and agency here in New Orleans. And when we started, it was 3 people, and by the time I departed in 2021, it was over 20 people. And while working at this agency, I was the head of the creative department, and for much of the time, actually, I was the entire creative team. So I got a chance to learn while doing things. Worked with a vast number of industries and clients, from government to healthcare to education. We ran campaigns, created brands, built websites, won awards for the agency for our clients. So it's been an incredibly powerful learning experience. I worked with clients directly, and accumulated a lot of knowledge across many different disciplines, not just creative, but technical, which ultimately led me to a place where I was able to start Hudson Creative Studio, which is a creative and a tech agency at the same time. And what we bring to the table is the agency approach, experience and understanding what it means to hear a client, understand their needs, the creative approach to communicate the client's brand, their unique proposition, communicate what their goals are, and then, of course, the technical part, which is very important as we integrate with Hostfully, providing a piece of software that we build on top of our websites called Home Runner that provides a really wide and powerful platform for integrating with more than just one, Hostfully, guidebooks, reviews, etc., and creating this really multifaceted platform that empowers our clients to have an incredibly powerful direct booking website. And that's I think this slide here. Sure.
Nice transition, Ellie.
Yes, thank you. That's my forte is the transitions.
Yeah.
Nick, would you like to take some of this?
Yeah, sure. So again, I'm Nick Halverson. So been renting my house actually in Costa Rica for 13 years. So 13 years ago, you can imagine the market, what that was like. So
oh my, yeah.
And as soon as I saw, I signed up with Orba Rental, which was the predecessor to Hostfully. So, and at the time I had one house, mine, and managed my first 5 with that. And I thought I thought that was it. And the next thing I know, we start growing the business about 5 years ago. Abigail Vargas came on as the first employee. She's now my chief operating officer. So we have about 35 employees. We manage around, by the end of this month, we should be right up around 50 properties. We've been dealing with a lot of sales in Costa Rica, so we've been hovering around 40 to 50 kind of for the last 6 months. We have, in terms of Hostfully, has been an absolute critical part for us. So in terms of the guidebooks, I've done all the printing out of pages, and then a restaurant closes, and now your guidebook is no good, right? When you print it out and you do the PDFs and constantly updating that. So from the guidebook standpoint, it's been wonderful. Quick changes, integrate, as well as, and then on the Hostfully itself, in terms of the pipeline that was alluded to earlier, to be able to see every client that's coming down, to see every lead that's coming through the pipeline, and then for our property managers to be able to jump in and to see what's been done and to communicate with that. And one other thing that we really like about Hostfully is its ability to integrate and expand out through everything from the door locks to our sound sensors to everything. That's all managed in a single hub, and that makes our life a lot easier. And we've been adding on and bolting on the additional integrations, and it's mostly gone absolutely seamless. And the great thing too is, especially as you're growing, if there's any questions, the customer service with Hostfully has been phenomenal from day one. I mean, that's why I've been with them from one house up to 50, is the ability of anytime I get stuck, I can send them screenshots. I can send them even links to videos to say, am I doing this right? And then also, as just given our experience, we've gone to Verma a couple times now, to be able to talk to them and have them continue to push us to say, hey, you could be doing this too. Did you know that the software is doing this, or this is the latest thing? So we really like our relationship and value it. I mean, the reason I was happy to be asked to be on this webinar was because Hostfully and Ellie's and Hudson Creative are critical to our business. They are our business, really. The integrations and everything else and the support. So that's kind of a little bit of background. I know we're going to jump into, you can see some of the work that we're doing with our website. I don't know if that's now or a little bit later here, but.
Yeah, it's a little bit later. For sure, we took some. We have some screenshots as well. Ellie will kind of transition you right through that, and I'm excited to just share all the fun ways and tips and tricks on how to use direct bookings and how to get more direct inquiries. And I'm super stoked with your success, Nick, and I'm excited to share that with everyone else. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if I can jump in here and say, I think first, I'm a huge fan of Hostfully and everything that the company is doing, and they're our first partner, and we're essential supporters of everything that the company stands for. And Nick, thank you so much for joining us. And Nick has been a fantastic client and a great example of what a client with a strong brand sense and a strong desire to stand that brand up and really drive it. So everything we do for Nick and for our other clients is a great example of what a business owner who cares about their brand is able to do with Hostfully and with support of Hudson Creative Studio and the tools we bring, because ultimately it all starts with the brand, and then there are no gaps. It continues all the way through every touch point and becomes completely inseparable from the way the business is approached, from the way the guests are communicated to, from the way the guest experience starts all the way back at the website, where guests maybe possibly are first exposed to the brand and to the properties. So they get a certain level of expectation that then carries them through and sets up their experience and how they perceive their entire stay later on. So maybe we'll go into some of the bullet points, some of the things on the topic for the agenda. I know that all of the people who are joining us here, thank you so much for joining us, care about things that ultimately relate to them and how can they improve the direct bookings, and what are the parts that go into ultimately running a successful brand. Because of my background, I feel like I have a good exposure into what it means to stand up a brand, to communicate from the brand's perspective, and then to really hone that experience that the brand wants to convey to their target audience, regardless of the industry. It really doesn't matter what industry this relates to. It translates entirely to the direct booking section and to the vacation rentals. But since the first bullet point on this list is the pros and cons of OTA, which does make sense, I want to touch on that, and I'm sure Nick will have something to add to that as well. OTA is kind of a painful topic. We need it. We can't do without it necessarily just yet. But there's a lot to complain about. There's a lot of pain points around it. So it's really a symbiotic relationship. OTAs, ultimately, property managers, you are their product. They don't own any properties. They sell your properties. You are the product. So they use you. Really, the best way to approach it is to understand that it's okay to use them as well. They are there for a reason. You're not their employee. You're not there to make them money, to make them successful. You guys help each other. It's a two-way relationship. So take that opportunity and build your brand and still have your properties on the OTAs for sure. But then rather than being a co-host, like Bob and Sue co-hosting your house, become a brand, have a logo, have a recognizable name that stands up, that stands out, that when somebody Googles it, it will land your guest on the direct booking website. So basically create a funnel out of all the people who are exposed to your properties and are interested in staying with you, and then corral them towards your own domain, something that you own, something that is not going to be changed on you and surprise you and just move the goalposts and change the entire game.
Yeah, and obviously, especially when we all start out, the OTAs are critical, right? I mean, when you have especially a handful, and they're important to us still. I mean, they're still an important partner. As Ellie said, it's symbiotic, and Airbnb is now just kind of figuring out. If you notice some of the latest news in the last week, right? So that Wall Street has noticed that property managers, once they make a booking through an OTA, then we try to hit them directly, and rightfully so. So it is. And so, especially when you're starting with one or two houses, it's really important to have those OTAs, because even your SEO and your website, it's just not going to show up in any searches. So that is the importance of being friendly, following their rules, making sure that you don't violate their rules and try to actively pull people off platform. We're very respectful of the rules. We want to make sure if the lead comes through Airbnb and everything's communicated, that's where it goes through. Once they become ours, they've booked it through, then our next one is to bring them and sell them on our brand. So the next time they come to Costa Rica, they're going to think of us and remember us. And there's tools we do that, whether it's the consistency of the brand, it's the soap containers, it's our concierge, it's our face-to-face check-ins. All of that is part of the experience that goes beyond just the physical walls of the vacation rental. And that's for us, critical for us. That's as important for us is that experience. So when somebody lands in a new country, typically, and they typically don't speak the language, so they're nervous, we need to try to calm them down and make sure they're going to enjoy their time when they're staying at one of our properties.
Exactly, absolutely. So this all goes back to really building a strong brand, and this cannot be stated enough. It permeates all the way through. And what is a brand? Some people think that brand is a logo, it's a color, it's a symbol, but that's just one of the aspects of the brand. Ultimately, the way maybe I like to talk about a brand is an emotional reaction that your client has when they hear your name or when they see your logo. They have an expectation, they have a pattern, they have something that they think is going to happen, and that feeling, it's very intangible, that feeling is the brand. And to deliver that feeling consistently in a way that you want it to be felt, of course, in a positive way, consistency, as Nick said, is absolutely key. It's every touch point. It's the logo. It's the way the brand voice is communicating to the customers. It's the way the photography is styled. Of course, it's the website, and website is an interactive, basically, a digital employee of yours that communicates your brand on your behalf and provides many, many different ways to set up expectations and deliver your unique proposition, kind of explain to your audience, to your guests, what it is that sets you apart. And ultimately, as I mentioned earlier, it has a potential of being the very first and early touch point for setting the guest experience. Of course, all the property managers care about the guest experience they create through the property, keeping things clean, having a nice decor, interior design. These things are crucial. But by the time the guest gets there, they already must have gone through some journey to find your property and to book it. A website delivers a unique possibility to control the guest experience well before the guest has a chance to see all the other things that you have in store for them. And
I want to say too that it's important with that brand and that consistency. This has happened to us 2 or 3 times in the last 12 months, where we've had a guest who was a renter with one of our vacation rentals has ended up purchasing property. We don't sell real estate. We are only vacation rental management, where they ended up purchasing a home in the area and then contacted us to say, you may not remember me. I rented Via Mariposa, but I bought a condo nearby. I'd like for you to manage that. That's the easiest sell ever. We didn't, all we had to do is put our pitch together and they were ready to sign the contract because they had that experience from beginning to end. So keep that in mind when you think about those renters coming through your doors or staying at your properties. That could be your next property. They could be the owner of the next property you manage. And Ellie touched on that. Like 5 years ago, having cleanliness was, that's what sets you apart. That's just table stakes, right? That's just good photography and cleanliness. That's basic. If you can't do that, then you really should rethink about what you're doing. It's this next level up. It's the next sophistication to make sure when someone's booking a vacation to where you manage those properties, that they think of you top of mind.
Yeah, and bringing that like brand identity brings us straight into the building trust and demonstrating competence, because they see your brand. You've already established this level of trust. They're going to see your brand. They're going to book your property without even thinking about it, because they're equating that to a high level of service. Ideally, maybe sometimes a brand will, equate to something not so suitable. But it kind of just bringing us right to our next bullet point.
Yeah, exactly. And this doesn't happen when they just see your logo as a brand. This happens when a pattern starts. Ultimately, people are pattern recognition machines. The way the brain works, we're always are looking for patterns because we want to predict what will happen next. Why? Because we worry. We worry what's going to happen next. A big part of marketing, a big part of talking to your target audience is finding out what it is that people are worried about, what they're anxious about, maybe without even realizing it, and then addressing it. So creating a consistent experience that proves that the pattern of a good experience is not just a fluke, but it is truth. It is what this brand stands for, and that pattern will continue so that they can foresee the future and confidently say that the choice in booking this property is a good choice and they will have a good experience. That is ultimately what is going to convert somebody who is not sure whether they should move forward with this property or this website or this brand versus you. And consistency is absolutely key. And building trust and demonstrating competence is done by staying consistent for every touch point. So in the case of a website, which is our area of expertise, this means that no attention to detail is spread across every single minute point. No things overlooked, because if a guest sees that something hasn't been necessarily touched upon, something hasn't been cared for, maybe there's a broken image or a broken link or something doesn't line up just right, their brain in the back of their mind starts to think, okay, they haven't noticed that. What else haven't they noticed? What else haven't they thought about? Where are they paying attention if they're not paying attention? So they start to have this kind of anxiety and worry, and that ultimately is going to be a wall between them looking at your brand and continue to move on, or deciding, yes, this makes sense. Let me just pull out the card, book, and move on with my life.
And I want to jump in real quick there. When, listening to that fear and everything else. So anybody who knows OSA Property Management, we always have our red shirts on. That's part of our brand identity. That actually started because when I was managing one house, my house, in Costa Rica, our landscapers they're typically men. We do have one female landscaper now, and they carry machetes a lot. And I got a panicked call from some renters years ago that there's some guy outside our house. He's got a machete and he's got his torn shirt on. And I was like, oh, that's okay. That's Francisco. You knew that. I had sent that information to them in the PDF book, or at the time before I had digital guidebooks. But it really triggered a thought that, here again, people are nervous and scared of what's coming next in Costa Rica, where I don't speak the language, and here there's somebody I don't recognize. So we let our guests know anybody related to OSA property management will always have a shirt on, always. Our vehicles are all marked. Our motorcycles are marked, so everything is easily identifiable. And again, that was all triggered from a customer issue, from a renter issue, and yet it's turned into a great marketing concept where where homeowners in the area will come to us and say, oh, we saw your SUV or we saw the motorcycle and, we wanted to come in and see what you're about. So, but that was because of a simple customer that was in panic mode and ready to move out.
Amazing. And now I think people will see those red shirts, can continue to see the red shirt, and they know that whoever wears that cares about the guest experience is there to make their stay comfortable. That's immediately the thought they have, even without realizing it. That's the brand continuity that all this stuff brings to it. And that brings us to the next point with direct booking being a blend of hospitality and e-commerce. That when it's said out loud, it becomes kind of obvious. But it starts off with the hospitality industry. How do you create a good guest experience by having a good interior design, providing quality sheets, etc., etc. But being that it's now an e-commerce industry as well, and people are ultimately shopping online for their experience ahead of time, much like they shop on Amazon, there are expectations. Expectations are strong and sometimes under-communicated. People expect a certain degree of care for their user experience when they come to a website. Something that's outdated, something that's dated and is under-considered, ultimately will translate to a guest as their needs are under-considered, that they are not as important because the business owner did not put as much effort into making it easy for them to find what they're looking for, making it easy to click that button, find the button, understand what the next action is, etc. So there's a lot of data about running a good e-commerce business, and all of that is 100% directly relatable and transferable to the hospitality. So we keep that in mind when we build websites for our clients. Let's see.
Eli, I have one question from Teresa that says, can you talk a little bit more about SEO? And if you need to hire like a separate company to update it, or, and he sends your love, like it's amazing and they love Hostfully, but that's another note on that. But can you elaborate? I think that's the next topic, right? How to optimize that, but a little bit more on SEO.
True. SEO is crucial. I mentioned earlier that you would have somebody find you on Airbnb. Maybe you did a good job creating a brand and there's a name for your company that's recognizable. They're going to Google it, or they're just searching around for properties to stay in at your location. So SEO is a major channel that will lead traffic to your website. Building a direct booking website, as opposed to perhaps using the out-of-the-box site that Hostfully provides, is a big step in terms of SEO, because if you have a main website but your direct booking section is handled by the Hostfully website, you have two separate platforms. And I know that property managers, you guys put a lot of effort and thought into creating the descriptions, all of the wording copy that goes on the property details page, because you have to compete in a large marketplace like Airbnb, etc. So you put a lot of work into it. It's not just a quick thought. All of that text, if you don't have your property information on your main website, that text gets indexed somewhere else, separate from your main brand, separate from everything else that you keep on your main website. Having a direct booking website that completely integrates and synchronizes, doesn't just copy and paste information from Hostfully, but as you create new properties or new properties, make changes, immediately updates and stays up to date, is crucial for having that powerful SEO. And then there are a lot of other things that we build into our system that continue to promote and strengthen SEO. Ultimately, yes, SEO is a big and very important topic, and I can tell you, Our laser focus is on branding, technical, and creative in the context of the website. Of course, that's the playground for SEO. But I also know that SEO is such a serious topic that it's not something that could be dabbled in. It's not something that maybe back 10, 15 years, you put some keywords on, you think that you're done. It's a very different game now. And to really work with SEO, I highly advise working with an SEO professional. And you want to vet that person or that company, you want to look at some of the results. But to have an ongoing, impactful SEO strategy, it does require an ongoing effort. Reporting, choosing keywords, re-choosing keywords, really looking closely at everything. Continual update of content on the website, such as maintaining a blog is an obvious one. Having reviews on the website. Of course, the reviews will be full of incredible data about your properties and experiences. Having that indexable on the website is a big part of it.
Yeah, and I would jump in too. So I built my own. I built my first website in we'll get to this later, in 1997 as well, or 96 actually. And the SEO world obviously is always changing. So again, to be able to put 1-point font and kind of hide things and everything else, Google figured that out. So, and Google's changing their algorithms all the time. So I remember the one update about 2 years ago, it wiped out about 60% of the results. So to Ellie's point, from an SEO standpoint, we're constantly studying that, and I have a personal interest in that. We do work with somebody else as well on the SEO side of things, but I pay pretty close attention to that to the best I can.
Yeah. But Teresa, to answer your question, generally, we do not take on SEO services right now in-house. We consult and advise working with a professional, or we provide a wealth of knowledge. Some clients, like Nick mentioned, enjoy learning this because it's very hands-on, it's very direct to your brand. So learning that there's a lot of great resources out there, and we consult and point our clients towards those resources. Just as we move through optimizing the website and leveraging marketing channels. So marketing channels, SEO is a huge one, and then of course, but it's one of many. Of course, then there is a Google Ads as an ad buying strategy, and Google Ads are fantastic because you don't have to wait for your SEO to propagate. You can buy a Google ad, you can spend a few dollars and be right there at the top of the page. And some of the Google results will show 3/4 of the page will be filled with ads, and only then will they start showing the results. So a lot of times, even ranking higher in Google will not necessarily give you the right visibility until you start spending a little bit of money with the Google Ads. Of course, then there is Facebook ads. There is content marketing, such as making yourself visible in your brand voice, continuing to post online, Instagram, Facebook, etc. And maybe we'll touch on this later, but building one of the hugely important things now, and the direct booking website enables that with the integration from Hostfully, building your own audience list, your mailing list is like your coveted treasure. It's really one of the most important things that you possibly have, and you should nurture it and nurse it like it's the most important thing in the world. And if you don't have one yet, start building one now, because by the time you realize you need one, it's going to be a little bit late to start building it. You want to start building it before you even know what to do with it necessarily. And then sending out newsletters, because then you are talking to people who chose to listen to your message, and they are going to be your most loyal customers and guests, of course.
And Ellie, how much would it cost? I know it's a hard question to answer, depending on the SEO expert, but how much does it cost? Or do you have one that you recommend? Just to kind of give people an understanding or a ballpark estimate. I know they can range depending on their expertise, but
it really depends on the strategy, and not all strategies will fit every scenario. So just working with a professional, making sure that their portfolio, the results, the case studies apply. But the strategy can really vary. It can be a one-time optimization. It could be an occasional touch point. That could be a couple of $100, $300, maybe a month. And then maybe on a higher level, where there are detailed reports and optimizations based on those reports done continuously, that can really go beyond $1,000 and more a month with some of the agencies. So it's a wide range.
Yeah, and in terms of recommendations, Hostfully also for those who are Hostfully clients, we have a Hostfully Facebook page. So you could always just put a post on there and say, hey, does anyone recommend an SEO expert? Our users, our clients would be more than happy to share that. For those of you that aren't Hostfully users, maybe using another property management software, just go on some, short-term rental Facebook groups and ask recommendations there. You'll get some good answers. I can assure you that. So pretty good ways of. Oh, and if you Google SEO expert, definitely use the ones that are on the first page because those are the ones that are doing it correctly. So.
Right. And we also recently started a Facebook group for Hudson Creative Studio clients. My goal is to grow that. It's a little small right now, kind of humble beginnings, but my goal ultimately is to turn it into a marketplace where I would vet experts that provide these outside services and bring them in to answer questions and create this win-win situation where all the questions are answered and the people you talk to are not just off the street, but somebody that we've figured out are a good fit for our clients. Frank, if we go to the next slide, I think I would touch on a couple of things here. I put in a success story and a testimonial early on, but I think a good chance here is to explain our approach and ultimately how it ties into your approach, or what your approach may be. Coming from an agency background, I put a lot of emphasis on understanding what my clients are really asking for, what they need. I mentioned anxieties and fears early on. This is something that I deal with all the time when I talk to prospective clients. There's always a worry about what if this is not the right choice? Will I be happy in the future? So you will see from some of the success stories from our clients that we put a lot of emphasis on understanding what it is that your brand represents. We're not necessarily just a one solution for everybody, just slap a logo and consider it done. We really listen to what your needs are, and then we'll work with you on getting you exactly what you need so that ultimately you can get what your guests need from you, empowering you to do that. I guess we can go into the next one, unless Nick.
Yeah, I think we have a poll question that we wanted to ask. Oh wait, that wasn't now. Disregard. Continue.
Okay.
I would jump in to support what Ali said in terms of customization. So again, we're going to look at the site, but again, this is something that I had quite some experience about, was building websites for over 20 years, and I thought I could do it. I hired a friend of mine who does websites. As you start to grow, it gets really complicated in terms of trying layouts and everything else, and being able to have a solution where it was just it was done quickly. It was done. It looks beautiful, and things fit right as you try to add widgets and you're trying to do all these other things when you're building up as you start to grow. And I did you'll know as you start to grow, it's tough to get those exact fittings, if you will, and the properties looking right and the information mapped out right. When you have one house or three houses, it's relatively easy. When you start to get to 40, or you're adding 5 this month, removing 3 because of sales, everything, that's where all of this starts becoming really complicated. And if you're paying a programmer to do per hour, that's actually quite a bit of work. Whereas with the new system here, it is seamless, and you jump in and you make the change in Hostfully and it shows up on your website. That's it. I mean, that's how simple it is.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nick. So biggest pain points, honestly, if possible, I would love for that to be a poll or a question. I would love to hear from the audience what are the pain points that you all experience, because ultimately that is our bread and butter. Just solving your pain points is what we exist for.
I'll tell you mine before we went to the launch. And again, we did a little different strategy that I want to get into once we show the site. But I used to be somewhat embarrassed about our website in terms of the rental side, right? Because from a Google standpoint, property management is very different than vacation rentals. If I own a property in Costa Rica and I need a property manager, that means I need the vacation rental side of it. I need the landscaping done. I need the swimming pool. Well, if I'm a renter looking for a property, I don't care about that. I'm assuming all of that's taken care of. So our website had evolved from basically almost a tourist site, like what to do, where to eat, and again, those were all kind of pages I had put on there, and then that became too touristy, so we pulled some of that back for an SEO reason, and then it started turning into too much property management, because that's what we need to capture the house, but to get the renter, you need to focus on the renter. And so, again, as a company would grow, I think your SEO, it should be changing. And we had Hudson Creative do our vacation rental site. And when you see it, that was our biggest challenge, was how do we focus on that renter when I still need to be able to pick up the houses and show up on Google's results to get the homes in the first place. And those are two very different clients.
Frank, I would love to kind of move through a little bit more so we can get to the actual kind of meat and potatoes of what is it that we do and what our websites look like and what they function like, because the software we build, HomeRunner, is really state-of-the-art that continues to evolve and improve, and it's chock full of big things and little things that are really big things, and I would love to have a chance to.
Yeah, I warned everyone saying we're going to get off on tangents. I warned them in advance, so we'll continue. But yeah, these are some of, I guess, if you want to just quickly review some of the frustrations it is with a direct booking website, and then we can go on to the others.
I don't know if it's my place to tell my clients what their pain points are. Ultimately, I'd love to hear, and this is some of the things that I've gathered, and of course, all of those things we approach head on at every point.
Awesome. So yeah, we can definitely move forward.
Okay, so if I can just kind of talk about what Hudson Creative Studio offer is, we are a twofold thing. We build websites, agency level work, creative and technical building websites in modern world that pass the muster. Ultimately, I can say people these days, especially younger generation, I heard this phrase, they were born with an iPhone in their hand. There is a degree of user experience. There's a degree of interface that people expect. It's the base, like what they see Apple do. They don't think that's beautiful. They think that's normal. They think that's the baseline. So you really can't fake or shortcut through that. It has to be as good as it possibly can. And on top of that, also, of course, they're deciding whether to book through Airbnb or to book through you with a direct booking website. And they're familiar with the Airbnb interface. They're familiar with how easy it is to go from this step to the next step. So being as good and maybe better in the interface and the process as Airbnb, it may sound like an insurmountable task, but it's not. They spend millions of dollars on their research and development, and then they put it on their website. That becomes available for all of us to see and understand. Like this is what the millions of dollars worth of research have shown in terms of how the interface can flow for the optimal results. They didn't just decide on that, over a cup of coffee. So taking all of that and bringing it to our clients at a budget that is well below what Airbnb would have implicated. So website is the first and foremost. The websites we build are not an afterthought. Frank, can we go to the next one?
Yeah, we actually asked the question, just to let you know while you were talking, Ellie.
Yeah.
We asked the question to the audience, and right down the middle, 50% said that they don't rely solely on the out-of-the-box booking website, and then 50% said that they do. Yeah. So that's actually really cool to hear about, that it's split 50-50. Normally with our out-of-the-box, I think it does a pretty good job. Obviously, it's not as robust. I like to recommend our out-of-the-box in the interim between sign-up and getting a more robust, meaty website together. So they can start driving and building their database of repeat direct bookers, while at the same time working with Ellie, the web developer, on building that website. So with the out-of-the-box, that's my answer, is 50-50 for sure.
I think out-of-the-box product is fantastic, and it really depends on where somebody is in their business journey.
Exactly.
What is it they're looking to do? How much emphasis they're putting on driving this kind of results versus those kind of results. A lot of businesses that I talk to, they get plenty of direct bookings regardless. They have a loyal base, and they don't need to convince anyone. They're maybe on the first name basis with a lot of their guests, and they just come in and take care of it. They don't even need a direct booking website. They can just pick up the phone and do it, and it works for them. So it really depends on your business goals and what you need to accomplish. Ultimately, it's a progression. As you put more effort into your marketing arm, into your guest experience, you will open yourself up to a wider audience, and if that is in your strategy and your goal, then that might be a good one to explore. But if things are working and nothing is broken and things are fine as they are, then we definitely are not here to convince you that you should be trying for something else. I think different things for different folks as different strokes.
Yeah. All right, let's continue and take a look. Did you want to go straight to the screenshots, Ellie?
I think we'll get there in just a quick second. So on this slide, I'm just going to touch on the things that we find important. Again, coming from an agency experience in building websites as a web and creative agency, we're fanatical about user experience, about user interface that drives the way everything comes together for the brand, how it visually tells a story, how it creates that consistency that supports the brand and creates this kind of pattern recognition that elevates anxieties and puts your guests at ease, which is where you want them to be. If you want them to pull out that credit card, press that book now button, fill out the information, and move on with their day, because ultimately your guests don't want to spend their time sitting and watching videos on the website or play with some animated feature. They want to get on with their day. They're doing research. They have people relying on them. They want to get in. They want to get out. They want to spend as little time as possible. So ultimately, the goal is not to make it so beautiful that they freeze and watch it. The goal is to make it so effortless that they just kind of glide right through it with no friction. And one thing I should mention, and Nick will attest to that, the big part of our offer is that we don't just build a website and say, goodbye, thanks for doing business with us. We continue to be partners in growth. And it's not just a phrase that we use. It's something we take very seriously. Typically, when the website is built, it's just the first step. As you expose yourself to the tools and abilities, the possibilities, you realize that there are more things that the website can do for you, which it can do so much. And
I would say to back that up, right? If you have an idea, working with Hudson Creative, then send it to them, because they may integrate it. They may say that's a great idea. We're going to get to that. But I've yet to have him say no. So I keep coming up with ideas, I think. So I got to keep trying to push. But he's and Hudson is great to work with from that standpoint, because again, I've worked with other agencies in the past through 25 years of and previous jobs and everything else of working with. You have an independent agency and they try to be an expert in this industry. Well, this is all tied to vacation rentals. So you don't have to spend time educating Hudson about what the vacation rental industry looks like or what your goals are. They know it. That's why you contacted him. And from a customer service standpoint, it's Allie and I talk probably almost every day, just with thoughts or little things, and or I'll change something on the site. I just want to show him to say, hey, is this, what are your thoughts on this, or these are things. So it goes both ways. And it also is one of those things where Hudson's been really good about saying, hey, you don't know this, but coming in about 60 days is going to be this next feature that, when you signed on and you agreed for us to manage the site, you didn't know that. And yet it's going to enhance everything. So that's one of those things where it's the relationship, relationships, we are in the relationship business, all of us, we're in the hospitality world. But again, sometimes I think hospitality, we just, our relationships, we focus on those relationships with the renters. But as a business owner, you need to think about those relationships behind you, right? The back end relationships you have. So for me, again, with Hostfully and Hudson, they're critical to me. They're friends of mine. Yes, they're colleagues and suppliers of mine, but I've known them so long and trust them so much that to me, we're friends as well. And not to say that we always agree, and we will go back and forth, and that's okay. And that's a great testament to the professionalism and the quality of work to that. So I would just urge you to remember, if you're going to hire somebody from a website that doesn't know anything about it, and they may be overseas and they're cheaper, I wouldn't put much belief in that, just because it's all about this integration, which is really the meat of it. I'd love to show them the site.
It's coming. It's literally in 2 slides. Thank you, Nick. And I want to make a shout out to my development team that are absolute geniuses, and we love taking on these new challenges, new request customizations, and that's how we get better, by hearing what it is that you need that we didn't realize, finding a way to deliver it to you, and then it's available for all clients. Frank, okay. So on top of the website, which is the foundation for the whole thing, is the software that we've been developing for the past year and a half plus. It started off kind of simple as a simple integration, but it grew quite a bit. This is some of the high points and features that HomeRunner is the booking engine, or maybe even the booking platform that we call, that integrates with Hostfully on 3 different levels. We grab and keep up to date all the property data, and then we have this really robust and powerful way to show the property data in multiple different ways, organizing it, filtering it, searching through it, sorting it, etc. Then we also do some great things with reviews that I hope we get to touch on in some of the slides later, where we can showcase them in our own widget, and every property links right on the website to the property page. And we integrate with this fantastic product that Frank touched on, the Hostfully Guidebooks, which I cannot recommend enough. With Hostfully Guidebooks, your recommendations kind of sit there dormant until a chance comes up for you to send that guidebook to your guest who's already booked. But that's a missed opportunity. That recommendation data, we take that, connect to it through API, and bring it into the website and inflate this really powerful, feature-rich local area guide that is able to filter through different categories, showcase the recommendations on the map, and even deliver a dedicated page for every recommendation, therefore really growing your sitemap and improving your SEO even further. So the very next slide, Nick's website.
There we go, Nick.
Yeah, so this was, and you'll notice we talked brand earlier, right? And we're OSA Property Management is the name of our company. This was a decision that we thought about for 2 years, and goes back to the idea of Google and the idea of the importance of building the direct booking website. So our logo, our main, because people aren't going to look property management when they're looking for vacation rentals. So this is a URL, a website of Costa Rica LasVillas.com that I had owned for over a decade, that I used it for a different project in Costa Rica I had. So I had a lot of legacy into it already. It's tied, it's directly related to what we're doing. So the URL is really good. It also translates into Spanish directly as well. So for us, we do a pretty good, significant local Spanish-speaking market. And this was one of the things Ellie added. If you look at the top, we have the Spanish flag up there. So it translates into Spanish with a click. But again, having this home run photo right here, and then that rotates, and we can click right onto that Gema Escondida. So, but we came up with a new brand, but we kept the red bird. So our red bird is in OSA Property Management. So people will see the bird. And then at the bottom of the page, which I know the slide isn't here, it's Costa Rica Las Villas, an OSA Property Management company, right? So we're connecting that together, and that double logo, I know I didn't send it to you guys, is what is going on all of our soap, our hand dispensers, and our shampoo bottles and everything. So we're trying to make sure that brand and that red bird or the bird is connected all the way through. We do co-brand some of our communications with the renters. So there is that handoff, because we think about those renters that came in and they're there to buy real estate. And when they buy the real estate, they're going to need a property management company. So we always want to make sure that we're thinking about that really in a soft way. And that's our connection through the brand. So ultimately, I foresee our company in 5 years, we'll have 2 robust sites. The direct booking site is going to continue to grow, and our property management is going to start hitting all of those people looking for property management, because it does kind of now. We've got good SEO on that. So our color schemes, we wanted to think about our color schemes and keeping that red, but not making it identical. And we did not want to confuse the customer either by making it so similar.
I think we only have just a few minutes left. Philip, no, I did not create a logo for Nick. He's got a genius designer on his end who took care of that. I think we're going to try to kind of zoom through, because we're literally at halfway point within the deck. So there's so much we're not going to get to.
Yeah, the good thing is we can share the deck with in our follow-up email. So Aaron
that
and I
would be
will-
amazing. That would be amazing.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we'll try to do that.
But maybe we can just kind of scroll through it and see what makes sense to pause on. On this slide, for instance, this is the integration from the reviews where we're dynamically pulling those out of Hostfully and showing them in this really engaging way. And the big thing here is that where it says stayed at, that links directly to the property page on the website, not anywhere else, which is different from every other implementation that we've seen. Let's see what else we can cover in the next couple of minutes. That's a widget that we build, the same functionality, but that widget is visible on every page. And then a dedicated page for all reviews right there for Google to parse. And we are actually building a search feature for reviews. This is the search and search results and browse page that is chock full of things we built with filters, price filter, updates automatically, ability to sort different kinds of ways, ability to use locations or custom groups as a destination drop down. Everything is on brand, as you see, with the custom map pins. And this is a screenshot, but things zoom around and move as you interact with it. And it's mobile friendly and just a good experience, easy way to really take in the whole inventory.
Yeah, we love it. It's absolutely great. Completely interactive. You can search by town, by region. You can search by amenity. And this is, if you were to scroll down on an individual listing, this is what you would see. It's providing the size of the beds. It's providing all the amenities. So we are pulling some of the best ideas from the OTAs as well. We're customizing the colors. We're making it interactive. And then that instant booking right there on the site on the right, it provides our guests the ability to book that right away. So again, a lot of bookings take place overnight. In the middle of the night, people are thinking and planning. They have time and it's 1 a.m. They don't have to contact us and say, I'd like to book. It's book it.
Yeah, that's a good point, Nick.
Great. So I think we, especially if the deck is going to be available afterwards, I think we've covered most of it. There's some kind of infographic ways to describe some of the functionality and some more success stories. One of them is from Ian. Ian, I saw your name in the list. Hi, thanks for joining us. I have your picture later in the deck that we might or might not get to. But that's the offer. It's the incredible website as a no corners cut, and then the software home run that continues to improve all the time by learning what it is you guys are still missing, what we can do. For instance, one thing we're working on is targeting the mid stays. That seems to be kind of a in-between territory, and that's tricky with date pickers and the ability to pick a date range and how to show the price. That is something we're tackling, and we are going to bring to Hostfully clients and fill that gap as we continue to work.
And real quick, I want to jump on real quick. So, I'm sorry, Frank. If
No,
you go back
go
there,
for
this also integrates, and this is a Hostfully feature of which we pushed in. Ellie pushed in is the 3D tours. So if you do with Matterport. So being able to provide your guests the ability to walk through a home that's allowed on Verbo and on Hostfully and now on our personal site. So we really like that, to be able to have clients be able to walk through the home as well as look at photos.
Great. Yeah. And ultimately, everything is instantly customizable. We're a small company, so we're able to pivot and reprioritize as needed. That's a big strength of ours because we can kind of go where the need is. And we do.
Wonderful. Yeah, and there. I think we're at literally the halfway mark. So we did talk about some help with that. And then we actually had a question come in. Can you add coupon codes? On Hostfully, you can easily create a ton of different coupon codes, different expiration dates. We also have one-time codes for those individuals that you just want to send their way to use once. And Ellie, do you want to touch on that? Do you have a place that you can do that on your website?
The discount codes automatically show up if they exist for a property, but we are going to implement an adjustment to that, and rather than just show the discount code, and also there is a edge case where there's a discount code, but it doesn't trigger the field from showing up. So we're going to make that field available all the time, but we're going to hide it under a small kind of a link that says, got a promo code, you click on that, it expands. So it's always there, but it doesn't kind of irritate people who don't have a discount code, because I know if I see a discount code on the checkout page, I'm like, oh, why don't I have one? I start looking.
I know, or it's going to prompt them
to check out until I find a discount code. So
Yeah,
we are,
that's smart. That's
Yeah.
smart because it's going to prompt them to stop the direct booking.
yeah, exactly.
And
That-
go
that's
look
a
for a
friction point.
discount code. Yeah.
Instead, make it unobtrusive. If they have a promo code, then they can enter it. But otherwise, it doesn't agitate them as something that they don't have.
Yeah.
And another
Awesome.
follow-up question that Stephen has is, do you have a price breakdown available on that?
As a web and creative agency, it really does range. It's like a big question, like how much for a car. It really does matter what your needs are, what functionality you would like. It does range. I will say the range is typically between 4,500 and maybe our upper tier websites are about 9,000. We do offer split payments and kind of spreading payments over time for those who need. The lower tier absolutely delivers a quality website. It's just a matter of kind of how far the visionary brand ideas and the goals stretch. We work with clients across the entire range.
And one of the other thing is that I think that you mentioned the other day, Eli, is that can you show comparable widgets of Airbnb and VRBO within
That-
your website? Yeah.
That is very close on our roadmap. Exactly. This widget that you're looking at right now is pretty much the Hostfully widget with some under the hood improvements. We are redesigning the entire interface very soon, and so we're actually going to show our own widget, keeping the Hostfully widget kind of in the back, in the back room, providing some data and sending data. And the new widget we will have will actually display the direct booking price as a best price guarantee, and then we'll juxtapose against the OTA prices, which are, of course, 15, 20% more. Therefore, of course, driving conversion. Ultimately, this is what it's about, making your guests realize that they're making the right decision. They're not going to regret it. So, yes, that is something we're bringing. It's a great idea.
And one of the other things that Stephen asked, and I think that's really important for everyone to know, that if we can offer inquire versus instant booking, and that is one of the things that we usually offer in Hostfully, to have 3 separate options. So you can do that like instant booking, only the inquire, just like a mix, right, Frank? Inquire just for 24 hours and then confirm the booking after that. So it's a nice mix over there.
The widget will adjust based on the booking setting you have for each property. But what we did roll out just last week is the ability to overwrite the language that appears on the button. So it might be, instead of instant booking, maybe you want to say book now. The widget in itself has specific language it will deliver. We have the ability to kind of rewrite that language, as many customizations we offer. It's just one of them. So the same tiers that are set in Hostfully, ultimately Hostfully is your cockpit. Ultimately, Hostfully is where all the decisions are made, and then the website will intelligently and in the best way portray that to your guest.
Yep.
Yeah, and just following up really quick, and Stephen is asking about the verify the guest ID on the experience of the direct booking website, and yeah, that it's something that it dependent on the integration that we do have built on the insurance part of Hostfully, right, Frank? It's something that is the tech stack that we build upon the upon your technology and the business, right?
Yeah, exactly. I bring up, we do have a customizable pre-arrival form that you can send guests post reservation. But yeah, usually our integrations with guest screening and service providers is usually recommended as well. They do a really good job. And again, we're going to be sending out a recorded version, a follow-up email, all of our contact information. Any questions you have, feel free to reach out to any of us. We'll point you in the right direction. And then all the tips and tricks as well. Yeah, Ellie.
I see Terry is asking an important question about QR codes, but yes, with the Google Travel coming very soon, as I understand, it's going to be extra important to have that direct booking website, because ultimately Google Travel will, when the results are shown, will link to the web link field provided in Hostfully. And what we do is, after we build the website, make sure everything works, we overwrite the web link field in Hostfully with the actual full main website direct booking link for the property, so that link, which belongs on your main website, shows up in all of your templates. And then once Google Travel is enabled, that is the link that Google will be linking to when your property is shown on the results. So it's extra important to have that, and we automate writing of the property link right into that field.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. Look, I learned something new from this one.
There's a lot.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. And then especially like Stephen asked, in terms of adding purchase options like pets, additional guest fees, travel insurance. Yeah, that's something you can build on Hostfully as your main central hub, and then we'll push out accordingly. There are intricacies, and it kind of gets a little specific. But yeah, I mean, Stephen, if you want to set up a call, set it up with Aaron. We'll reach out and we can kind of get into the nitty gritty. Same thing goes out to everyone on this call. Any questions you have, Aaron and I will answer. If it's website development specific, we'll point you in the right direction to Ellie. We'll also share his information. Any insights, Nick is awesome, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have as well. So, but really, this was awesome. I don't want to hold you all up too long. There's really been such great takeaways, guys. Thank you. And for those who are listening, as I mentioned, who are just overwhelmed with the wealth of information that you've just received, don't worry. We'll be sending out an email after this webinar with a link to the recording, our contact information, and we would love to touch base with each and every one of you. So we're really excited. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for staying 7 minutes after the scheduled call. Ellie, Nick, amazing, awesome. Thank you so much for your expertise. Sorry we didn't get through the whole deck. Maybe I'll talk to Mitch about another webinar. We might have to do a part 2 and just stop right here and have a to be continued or something, so we can continue our conversations later on. But again, thank you to everyone who joined. Thank you, Ellie and Nick. Aaron, thank you for crushing it on the questions and answering everyone's question. And then again, ask us any questions, we'll answer, because the questions keep coming in. So I'm gonna end it here. And again, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Soon.